A Course in Miracles. Lesson 121. Forgiveness is the key to happiness. Here is the answer to your search for peace. Here is the key to meaning in a world that seems to make no sense. Here is the way to safety in apparent dangers that appear to threaten you at every turn and bring uncertainty to all your hopes of ever finding quietness and peace. Here are all questions answered. Here the end of all uncertainty ensured at last. The unforgiving mind is full of fear and offers love no room to be itself, no place where it can spread its wings in peace and soar above the turmoil of the world. The unforgiving mind is sad, without the hope of respite and release from pain. It suffers and abides in misery, peering about in darkness, seeing not, yet certain of the danger lurking there. The unforgiving mind is torn with doubt, confused about itself and all it sees, afraid and angry, weak and blustering, afraid to go ahead, afraid to stay, afraid to waken or to go to sleep, afraid of every sound, yet more afraid of stillness, terrified of darkness, yet more terrified at the approach of light. What can the unforgiving mind perceive but its damnation? What can it behold except the proof that all its sins are real? The unforgiving mind sees no mistakes, but only sins. It looks upon the world with sightless eyes and shrieks as it beholds its own projections rising to attack its miserable parody of life. It wants to live, yet wishes it were dead. It wants forgiveness, yet it sees no hope. It wants escape, yet can conceive of none, because it sees the sinful everywhere. The unforgiving mind is in despair, without the prospect of a future which can offer anything but more despair. Yet it regards its judgment of the world as irreversible, and does not see it has condemned itself to this despair. It thinks it cannot change, for what it sees bears witness that its judgment is correct. It does not ask, because it thinks it knows. It does not question, certain it is right. Forgiveness is acquired. It is not inherent in the mind, which cannot sin. As sin is an idea you taught yourself, forgiveness must be learned by you as well, but from a teacher other than yourself, who represents the other self in you. Through him you learn how to forgive the self you think you made, and let it disappear. Thus you return your mind as one to him who is yourself, and who can never sin. Each unforgiving mind presents you with an opportunity to teach your own how to forgive itself. Each one awaits release from hell through you, and turns to you imploringly for heaven here and now. It has no hope, but you become its hope. And as its hope, do you become your own. The unforgiving mind must learn through your forgiveness that it has been saved from hell. And as you teach salvation, you will learn. Yet all your teaching and your learning will be not of you, but of the teacher who was given you to show the way to you. Today we practice learning to forgive. If you are willing, you can learn today to take the key to happiness and use it on your own behalf. We will devote 10 minutes in the morning and at night another 10 to learning how to give forgiveness and receive forgiveness too. The unforgiving mind does not believe that giving and receiving are the same. Yet we will try to learn today that they are one, through practicing forgiveness toward one whom you think of as an enemy, and one whom you consider as a friend. And as you learn to see them both as one, we will extend the lesson to yourself, and see that their escape included yours. Begin the longer practice periods by thinking of someone you do not like, who seems to irritate you,
or to cause regret in you if you should meet him, one you actively despise or merely try to overlook. It does not matter what the form your anger takes. You probably have chosen him already. He will do. Now close your eyes and see him in your mind, and look at him a while. Try to perceive some light in him somewhere, a little gleam which you had never noticed. Try to find some little spark of brightness shining through the ugly picture that you hold of him. Look at this picture till you see a light somewhere within it, and then try to let this light extend until it covers him and makes the picture beautiful and good. Look at this changed perception for a while, and turn your mind to one you call a friend. Try to transfer the light you learned to see around your former enemy to him. Perceive him now as more than friend to you, for in that light his holiness shows you your Saviour, saved and saving, healed and whole. Then let him offer you the light you see in him, and let your enemy and friend unite in blessing you with what you gave.
Now are you one with them, and they with you. Now have you been forgiven by yourself. Do not forget, throughout the day, the role forgiveness plays in bringing happiness to every unforgiving mind, with yours among them. Every hour tell yourself, forgiveness is the key to happiness. I will awaken from the dream that I am mortal, fallible and full of sin, and know I am the perfect Son of God. Lesson 121. Forgiveness is the key to happiness. You defended a parody. What if nothing ever happened? A Course in Miracles. Lesson 121. You thought forgiveness was about fixing what happened. But what if nothing ever happened? Forgiveness is the key to happiness. Because happiness was never lost, only obscured by a belief that something real could be harmed, a belief that something real could be threatened, a belief that something real could be broken. The world seems to make no sense because it was never created by God. It is a projection, a perceptual field built from a mistaken identity. And once the mind believes it is separate, everything must reflect that belief back to it. So what does the unforgiving mind do? It crowds out love, not by destroying it, but by leaving no room for it to be itself. Love does not need to become anything, it simply is. But the unforgiving mind fills the space with judgment, with interpretation, with defense, with attack. And so love appears absent when it has only been covered. The unforgiving mind is afraid of everything, and yet more afraid of stillness. Because stillness removes the illusion of continuity. Stillness dissolves the story. Stillness reveals that the self that seemed to persist across time was never there. Every sound reinforces the illusion of a world, but stillness exposes the absence of it. So the mind keeps moving, keeps reacting, keeps judging, because if it ever stopped, it would see there was nothing to defend. A parody of life. That's the structure. A life that imitates meaning without ever touching it. A cycle of effort without purpose. A pursuit of goals that reinforce the very lack they were meant to solve. It wants to live, yet wishes it were dead. Because the life it experiences is not life. It is maintenance. It is survival. It is repetition. It wants forgiveness, yet sees no hope, because it believes sin is real. And if sin is real, then punishment must be real. And if punishment is real, then escape is impossible. So it searches. But it searches inside a closed system. A system built on the assumption that something went wrong. And then it says, look at the evidence. Everything I see proves I'm right. But what is it seeing? Its own projections. The mind projects guilt. and then perceives a world that confirms it, and then defends the perception as if it were truth. It does not ask because it thinks it knows. It does not question because questioning would undo the structure. This is the social media mind, declarative, confident, unexamined, certain without evidence. Forgiveness is acquired, not because sin is real, but because the belief in sin was learned. And what is learned can be unlearned. Forgiveness is the undoing of a false conclusion. It is the recognition that what seemed to happen never occurred in truth. That is why you cannot teach yourself out of it. The same mind that made the error cannot correct it. There must be a bridge, a part of the mind that never entered the illusion, a still point, untouched by projection. Through that, the false self disappears, not by being destroyed, but by being seen as never having existed. And then something shifts. Every unforgiving mind becomes an opportunity, not to fix another, but to release the belief in separation. Enemy and friend collapse into one. Two labels placed on the same illusion. One reinforces attachment, the other reinforces rejection, but both preserve the belief in difference. And difference is the root of conflict. So the practice begins. You look at the one you despise, and instead of reinforcing the image, you look for light. Not because it needs to be added, but because it was never absent. And then something radical happens. The same light is transferred, not from one body to another, but from one perception to another. And now the friend is no longer special, and the enemy is no longer threatening. Both reveal the same thing. The light you saw was never in them. It was in the mind that chose to see it. Now they bless you with what you gave. Now you are one with them. Now you have forgiven yourself. What does it mean to be forgiven by yourself? It means the judge is gone. The charge is gone. The case is gone. Because the crime never occurred. And with it, the entire structure collapses. Forgiveness is the key to happiness. Not because it changes the world, but because it reveals there was nothing to change. And in that recognition, the dream of being mortal, fallible, and full of sin gives way to what has always been true. Perfect, whole, unchanged. You were never becoming that. You were only remembering.